Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Amante, and I'm a Senior Vice President at the Partnership for Public Service. For those of you not familiar with the partnership, we are a nonpartisan nonprofit working to build a better government and a stronger democracy. We do that a lot of ways, through policy ideas to make government work better, through our leadership development programming, workforce programming, conversations like this one to help support the federal workforce. We're here to support you as best as we can through resource sharing, providing plain language explainers, and continuing to do what is a hallmark of the partnership, sharing the stories of the incredible work that federal employees do for our country. Thank you for your service. With that, I have a few announcements to make before we kick off and have our main event today. The content provided today is for information purposes only. It's not intended to provide any legal guidance. If you require legal advice, we recommend consulting with a qualified attorney who can assess your unique circumstances. Throughout this webinar, we will be answering questions that you submitted when you registered, and you can also submit questions anonymously through the Q&A function, and we will work through those, as many as we can, throughout the session. And while we're not able to answer every question today, we have a series of explainer sessions over the next few weeks to dig into additional topics. So while we may not get to a certain topic or question this afternoon, be on the lookout for more webinars. Finally, while this discussion is geared for federal employees, it is an open forum, and we may have folks joining us from other communities. I'm really excited today to have staff joining us from the DC Department of Employment Services to talk a little bit about unemployment compensation. So James, I'm going to pass it over to you to share your team and share information with our audience today.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michelle. I appreciate the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, rather. My name is James Clopton. I'm a Senior Program Manager in the Department of Employment Services, and we are here with you today to just give you an overview of the program offerings that we have here in the department, and specifically to discuss unemployment insurance. Before we kick off, I want my colleagues to introduce themselves. Next up, Mr. Chiza.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Glorie Chiza, and I am the Senior Program Manager in the Office of Talent and Client Services. I look forward to providing you guys some information about Career Ready DC very shortly. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kuturah Aldridge. I am the Quality Control Coordinator with the Office of Unemployment Compensation.
Thank you both. So we'll jump right in. So again, my name is James. I'm with the Office of Talent and Client Services. And today we're here to provide you an overview of the DOES programs for dislocated workers. So first, we'll have a message from our director. This is our director. The Department of Employment Services, we are committed to fostering an environment conducive to talent acquisition, employee equity, and business success. That is only possible through hard work and sustained collaboration with new and existing employers, from our very own Dr. Unique Morris Hughes. The department is committed to providing employers with quality talent excuse me, through job placement, training, and career development services. And our internal office, the Office of Talent and Client Services, we are focused on offering businesses in the Washington, D.C. area complimentary services to help meet our workforce and development needs in general. We do this in partnership with several internal offices here. Very quickly, we have the Division of State Initiatives, which handles most of our state initiative and local programs for the District of Columbia. Next up, we have the DC Infrastructure Academy. The DC Infrastructure Academy handles all major IT, construction, apprenticeable type programs through their particular office. Next up, we have the Federal Workforce Development Program, which we work simultaneously with. And through that program, you will engage in services through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Next up, we have the Youth Employment Program. As many of you may know, we have one of the most robust summer youth employment programs in the nation, but not only the Summer Youth Employment Program, but other programs such as the Marion S. Berry Leadership Program are under that umbrella. Next, we have Workforce on Wheels, which is basically a mobile unit of our American Job Center. And right after that is the American Job Center, of course, which are brick and mortar locations. And then finally, we have the Office of Apprenticeship. The Office of Apprenticeship is the federal arm of apprenticeable occupations. So for our agenda today, we're going to go over the American Job Center, DC Networks and Virtual One Stop, which will be where you'll start this process of unemployment should you choose to apply. We will thoroughly cover unemployment compensation for you, and then we will cover DC wage law and rights, and finally, we will end with connecting with talent and client services. So the American Job Center is the point of access and entry to programs here in the District of Columbia. We provide virtual services and workshops. These include, but are not limited to, of course, getting to know your American Job Center, which is basically an orientation. We also have that available in Spanish. Let AI create your resume, which, as Mr. Chiza mentioned earlier, that will be covered under the Career Ready DC portion. Next, we have the conversation that gets the job, interviewing skills. And then we have how to complete a job application using DC Networks, which I'll go into a little bit more detail about that as well. And finally, we have resume and cover letters. All of these services and workshops are offered online from our website, and you can get them from this presentation as well. But we have that and more available from our main website. Most of these presentations or most of these offerings are done through Adobe Connect. So you will need to download Adobe Connect and Adobe Flash. You must register for the events to attend. Your email address is required to register. And when registering, please enter your first initial and last name instead of your full name. After you complete registration, you will receive an email confirmation with the link needed to access the orientation at the scheduled time. For more information on using Adobe Connect or about any of these workshops, the link is here for you. It's on our main webpage, which is www.does.dc.gov/service/American-Job-Center. So what is DC Networks? Well, DC Networks is what is known as internally as our virtual one-stop system. It is one of the most comprehensive interactive job search tools that we have. There are some other states that have very similar systems if they're not with the same company, but it is comprised of more than 300,000 jobs at any given time, and it aggregates positions that meet your interests and connects you with the following entities, which are regional employers, associations, local newspapers, and other major internet job boards. Also utilizing DC Networks, you're able to set up your own profile in it. So that out of all of these resources that are available to you, you can kind of, make a template or a selection on what type of jobs you have an interest in. DC Networks is also available and accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is self-directed and allows for online job searching. It allows you to certify and file for UI claims online. And again, we will go into that momentarily. It contains extensive labor market information. So for those of you that may be interested in your particular field or your particular occupation, what's trending, what's not trending, or even if you're considering a change in occupation, that may be helpful to you. It allows you to post your resume online. It contains information on upcoming regional job fairs or career fairs. As I mentioned earlier, it served as a virtual recruiter for you. That's when I was saying you could set up your own criteria for the types of jobs you want and get automatic notifications automatic notifications about jobs of interest. And lastly, it contains information on education and training providers available in the District of Columbia. In the District of Columbia, for those of you that are district residents, you would use DC Networks, which is available at www.dcnetworks.org. If you live in any of the other areas or Maryland and Virginia respectively, you would go to careeronestop.org. That is careeronestop.org, and you can find American Job Centers located in your local area. Really quick, I want to go over how to request case management services in the American Job Center. Um, you may visit online to do a virtual registration and orientation first. Complete the Get to Know Your American Job Center orientation that was mentioned earlier. And at the end of that orientation session, you may request case management services. You will be contacted within 48 hours by a workforce development specialist, and appointments to meet with the workforce development specialist for case management purposes may also be made through the DOES website. And so with that, we will move on to the next portion, which is unemployment compensation. And I will turn it over to my colleague, Ms. Kuturah Aldridge. Ms. Aldridge.
Thank you, James. The District of Columbia Office of Unemployment Compensation, your financial safety net. What is unemployment insurance? Unemployment insurance benefits are temporary weekly payments to workers who are unemployed through no fault of their own and who are able, available, and actively seeking work. UI claims are filed against the state in which you are employed. If you have received income from more than one state, you may have the option to select the state in which you want to file. However, you may not have concurrent UI claims. Unemployment insurance fraud. If you knowingly collect benefits by intentionally providing false or inaccurate information when filing your UI claim, it is considered fraud. UI fraud is punishable by law, and violators could face serious consequences, fines, and penalties. We can help you address the issue if you think you may have received UI benefits erroneously. Examples of UI fraud could include an individual returns to work full-time and continues to collect unemployment benefits. An individual works a part-time job but does not report their earnings to the state, thereby collecting more benefits than they are allowed. An individual performs temporary work while collecting UI benefits but does not report the earnings when filing their weekly claim. An individual holds back information or gives false information to the state UI agency. If you know someone who is fraudulently collecting UI benefits, filing for UI benefits improperly, or you are a victim of identity theft and you believe someone is collecting benefits with your information, please call 1-877-FRAUD-60. That's 1-877-372-8360 so that we can help you address the issue. Traditional UI benefits. Benefits in the District of Columbia, weekly benefit amount ranges from a minimum of $50 to a maximum of $444 per week. Your weekly benefit amount is based on the wages you received while working within a 12-month period called the base period. The base period is determined by the date you file your unemployment claim. You can collect regular unemployment benefits for a maximum of 26 weeks. Eligibility criteria. A person eligible to receive unemployment insurance must meet the following criteria: be unemployed through no fault of their own, be able to work, be available to work, and be actively seeking work. How to apply for unemployment benefits online. The first step is to ensure that you have created an ID.me account. The District of Columbia Unemployment Office has partnered with ID.me to create a highly secure identity verification process that ensures you and only you will be able to access your unemployment benefits. To create an ID.me account, please have the following information available. You will need an email address, your social security number, a state-issued photo identification, a cell phone with a camera, or a laptop or computer with the camera access. Once you have created your ID.me account, you will then open DC Networks, which is at www.dcnetworks.org. You will click to sign in or register. You will scroll down to option 3 and you will create a new user account. Once you've created the new user account, you will then click individual registration and you will enter the requested information for filing. How do I file my UI claim? District employees must file their unemployment compensation claim online at dcnetworks.org. To begin the process of filing for your unemployment benefits, you will need to have the following information readily available: your Social Security number, your most recent employer's name, address, phone number, and dates of employment, your alien registration number if you are not a U.S. citizen, your DD-214 if you are ex-military, your Standard Form 8 or Standard Form 50 if you are a former federal employee, severance pay information, only applicable if you did or will receive severance pay, and pension information, only applicable if you are receiving a pension payment. What happens after I file my claim? Your claim is reviewed by a UI claims examiner to determine your eligibility. If eligible, you will receive benefits following a 1-week waiting period. If deemed ineligible for benefits, you will receive information on how to appeal the decision. To maintain eligibility, you must file weekly claims certification and include 2 weekly job searches. For additional information, please visit the Unemployment Compensation website, Information for Claimants section.
Thank you so much, Ms. Aldridge. Really quick, I just want to touch on this, which is DC Wage Law and Rights. The District Code of Columbia, or the District of Columbia Code 32-1303 regarding closures and layoffs, it requires or has the following protection for employees. Now, this does not apply specifically to you all situation, but I still like to share this and make it known in the event that you may have other private employment. But whenever an employer is discharged or an employee is discharged, the employer shall pay the employee's wages earned not later than the working day following such discharge. Provided, however, that in the instance of an employee who is responsible for monies belonging to the employer shall be allowed a period of 4 days from the date of discharge or resignation for the determination of the accuracy of the employee's accounts. At the end of that time, which all wages earned by the employee shall be paid. Now, this will probably not be applicable in the instance of you all separations because there are other factors such as CBA agreements and things of that nature. But that's just something for you to be aware of. So with that, the Office of Wage and Hour as well, we do have that information online on our website, and you can find that at your leisure. So I will take a moment right now to pause, and I want to see if there's any questions because we typically get a lot of questions for UI. And so I want to, Michelle, if you'd like to facilitate or let us know, do we have anything in chat?
Well, I have a few, if you don't mind me following up. I think, as you know, our audience is primarily federal employees. And so there have been a lot of questions, particularly because federal employees can live in one state, work in another state. Like, how do they know in which state or city to apply for unemployment compensation?
Okay, so for federal employees who do live in other states beyond where their actual agency is located, you will file an unemployment claim where your official duty station was located. And that can be, I believe it's on your SF-8.
Thank you. I think that'll clear up a lot of confusion for folks. Some of the other questions that have come in have been related to probationary employees. And as I'm sure you know, there have been thousands of probationary employees laid off. Many of their notices said it was due to performance issues. How are you all handling that?
So for employees that have been released due to probationary reasons, they will just continue to file their unemployment claim as normal. They will state that that was the reason for separation, and we will investigate the issue. And if they're deemed eligible, they will receive benefits. And if they are not found eligible, then they will be receiving information for the appeal process. So it is on a case-by-case basis. It's not just a blanket yes. It will be determined based on whatever factors attributed to their reason for separation.
Thank you. So even if their notice says that the template notice says it is for performance issues, you all will take the extra step to investigate if the claimant disputes that, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. As you know, several thousand folks also took the deferred resignation. How does that affect their ability to collect unemployment compensation?
It will be the same process. Any reason for separation, whether it is due to probationary reasons or taking the buyout or anything of that nature, we will do an investigation to determine if that particular person meets the criteria for unemployment. So they will also be investigated and it will be determined if they are found eligible.
And if you could elaborate on that a little bit, because it was a voluntary separation, what could some potential reasons be for them to still be eligible for unemployment compensation?
To be eligible based off of a voluntary resignation, again, it's very difficult to give exact reasonings or examples because it is on a case-by-case basis. So we will have to gather all of the facts pertaining to that particular person, and it will be determined if they are deemed eligible.
Okay. Any other specific considerations for federal employees given everything that you all are seeing now in terms of claims?
Special consideration. At the moment, I am unaware of any that we currently offer, no.
Okay. Thank you. Ross, anything in the chat?
Yeah, so we do have a few questions that came through. One was about if there's a way that folks can calculate their employment benefit potentially before applying. I know you mentioned that the range is between $50 and $444. Is there some online tool that they can use to calculate the potential benefit beforehand?
We do not offer an online tool. The weekly benefit amount is determined based off of how much money is earned during the base period. So if you are making roughly, I want to say maybe like 11,000 plus a quarter, then you should be on the higher range of the weekly benefit amount.
Great, thank you. And I know you mentioned the 12-month base period, but is there a length of time that someone has to have worked in DC to qualify for unemployment compensation?
So to qualify, you will have to have performed work within the base period. We ask that it will not ask, but it will need to be 2 quarters out of the base period, and it does not necessarily have to be only in the district. An individual will have to have worked 2 quarters anywhere, whether it's DC, Maryland, Virginia, Florida, as long as they have 2 quarters of earnings, then they will be monetarily eligible.
Great, thanks for that. And some folks had some questions about being eligible if they're receiving a pension or will be eligible in the future for a pension, and including any severance payments. How does that factor into an unemployment compensation claim?
So for severance, if you are receiving a severance, we will essentially halt your unemployment because you cannot collect severance and unemployment at the same time, especially if you're receiving unemployment from the employer that you're also receiving your severance pay from. But if you are attempting to file for unemployment benefits and you have not yet received your severance, then we do suggest for you to file your claim. And then once you receive your severance pay, we will do an investigation to determine what the period will be if you are ineligible or if you will be ineligible at all. We won't know until we get all of the necessary information. Same thing with pension. If you are receiving a pension, that information will be taken into consideration for your unemployment, as well as if you're planning on receiving a pension. So if you have not yet started receiving a pension or your severance prior to filing, then once you do begin receiving it, just notify us and we'll begin the investigation process.
Yeah, thanks for that. And just one last question that I see, for folks who have experienced the layoffs, they might have issues at getting paperwork from their HR offices, especially if there are folks unable to provide those materials. Is there any advice you would give people who may have issues gathering forms from their agencies?
So the only documentation that we require you to have when filing for unemployment is either your SF-8 or your SF-50. We do have contacts within all of the federal agencies that we reach out to for unemployment. So we can get that information from the contacts if the claimant is unable to provide that information. So as long as they have their SF-8 or SF-50, then that's the only thing that we will require.
Thank you for that. That's important to know. A follow-up to that, as many folks know, the HR offices are being bombarded with all sorts of tasks. And there may not be staff to respond to all of the unemployment compensation requests coming in or verifications for employment. So how long do employers have to respond to your request for information before you would release a payment to a claimant?
So employers have 48 hours to respond after our request. If they do not provide a response within that time, then a decision will be made based on the information that we currently have. So if an employer takes a week, 2 weeks to provide a response to us, that will not hold up anybody's unemployment, no.
Thank you. That's really, really helpful right now. I promise this is my last question for now, but a lot of our audience may have an opportunity to earn some part-time or have part-time work through some consulting. How does that affect their unemployment benefits each week?
So if you are performing any work while collecting unemployment, you will have to report your earnings on your weekly certification, which is questions that you will have to answer each week. One of the questions asked, have you performed work this week? And then they will just select yes, and then put in the dollar amount that they earned. If you are working, that can reduce your weekly benefit amount that you receive from the district. So yes, it will affect your unemployment.
Thank you. James,
Excellent.
back over to you.
Thank you, Michelle. And actually, I would like to ask one question, and I'm sure Kuturah knows the answer to this. But for anybody that comes across this webinar, they may have different separation dates, right? So could you just let us know that based on your separation date, what is the best time to apply?
So if you are separated during the week, we don't have a best time to apply. If you are employed as of Monday and then Tuesday you are let go, you are eligible to file for unemployment on Tuesday. The only thing that you will have to do is you will just have to report how much you earned during the week. So if you are working Monday through Friday and you are let go on Friday and you decide to file your claim on Saturday, because the way that we process our weeks are from Sunday to Saturday. So if you do file an unemployment claim on Saturday, you would just have to report to us how much you've made for that week, and then your claim will begin the following week.
Excellent. And then one more clarifying thing. You mentioned earlier the certification, the weekly certification. Could you just briefly explain what that is again and what would happen if a person fails to complete their weekly certification?
So the weekly certification is how we determine if you are eligible that week to receive unemployment benefits. It's roughly about 10 or 11 questions that we ask. We ask, are you able to work? Are you physically able to work? Did you perform work during this period? Did you look for the 2 job contacts that are a requirement? Everything that's a requirement for unemployment, we kind of ask those on the weekly certification. If you do not fill out the weekly certification, then you will not receive payments. So it is mandatory for you to fill out your weekly certification in order to receive benefits. If you go, I do believe it's if you go 3 weeks without filling out a weekly certification, then that will cause an additional inquiry into your claim to determine if you are indeed still eligible or if you've returned back to work. So if you, for any reason, are not going to file weekly, just let the agency know so that we can notate your file.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Well, with that, we will continue on. Or before I move on, Ross, nothing else? Just want to be sure.
Yeah, we're all set.
Excellent. So very quickly, we will cover connecting with my office, the Office of Talent and Client Services. So Rapid Response, which is the program that we generally operate, pursues prompt reconnection of dislocated workers with employment. If you do have any questions, you can always reach out to us at talent@dc.gov, and we also have talent acquisition distribution lists. We much prefer that you are registered in DC Networks because that is um, it is much easier to find you that way. This is what we primarily use as a backup. But anytime that we have hiring events, which we actually have one coming up Friday, we will go into DC Networks to find people that match the occupational skill set or to match the job offerings that we have available. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Glorie Chiza, to cover the AI experience, which is known as Career Ready DC. Mr. Chiza?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Great. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, James and Kuturah, for leading this. I want to just give an opportunity, take a second to pitch or really to introduce Career Ready DC. And Career Ready DC is a free service that would allow residents to discover a job and career opportunity based on their individual work experience and skills. The platform also provide employers with a pipeline of talented candidates. So essentially, we have a bunch of employers who use the platform, but also we're trying not to get users to also use the platform. And again, some of the benefits for this technology is it reduces bias in hiring process by matching employer roles based on an applicant's skills. You also are able to create resumes, custom resumes. So if you are applying for something, in which I will be able to show you guys a little bit more, you were able to create some custom resumes, suggest job to applicants. So if us caseworkers were able to send jobs to the applicants and so on and so forth. So it's a really proud collaboration that we've been able to do with Fold AI. So yeah. So again, the few things to manage to keep in mind is it's a career center. You're able to do some personalized resumes and also do some career planning. Next. So just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a bird's eye view, or really just a little bit of what that looks like, the interface, what the platform looks like. So to create an account, if you go into our website, you're going to have the option to create an account using your email and confirming your email. Next. To create your profile, you have the options to either manually enter your information, or you can use a resume or any sort of a starting point of a resume to kind of help the system start to do its work. Next. So also you keep going. That's the same thing as the last one. Next. So also here you are able to also filter your you filter your options based on what you're looking for. If you're looking for temporary positions, options, if you're looking for works that are only for remote, you have the capabilities to really filter it based on your personal needs or what you're looking for. Next. Also on here, you also have the opportunity to click on here if you want to the platform to also provide some recommended skills for you and to be added to your resume. Next. Next. Again, so this is again what it's going to show you once you have the platform created. It is you able to kind of see your username, your work experiences. Again, it's just a little bit of a view of what the platform looks like on the inside. Next. In regards to exploring jobs, so what the system will be able to do once you've uploaded your resume and your information, it will populate or be able to create some jobs searches for you, and it will be able to rank it based on what you are mostly based on the matches. So what are you best matched with, and to the least matched position. So the AI really allows you to also kind of give you some insight of what positions you have a better chance of applying to. And you were able to see it. And this is the interface for what that looks like. Next. Customized resume, you all have the options to also add attributes or add skills to your resume that you see relevant. Next. Another function that we have in the system is as far as career planning. You are able to, using your resumes, you can determine, let's say you have a position that you want to aim for 5 years down the line or maybe a year down the line. The platform can also give you some recommended courses that you probably would need to take to get you closer to that goal. So it also could be used as an educational platform to leverage some of the courses that are inside the platform. Next. Again, here, planning your career, you have the option of kind of planning your career from whatever timeline you have, and then the system will kind of give you what you need to do in order to get there. Next.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chiza. So really quick for you, sir. We mentioned DC Networks earlier, and we know that this is a complementary system. Could you take a moment just to briefly explain the difference between the two and the benefits specifically for using Career Ready DC as a supplement?
Great. No worries, for sure. So DC Network is really the database that the city uses. That's what houses everyone that's currently looking for employment. And also a lot of our employers are really in that system. So I would recommend for anyone from this call, the first thing to do is to first go on DC Networks and to make sure that you are enrolled on DC Networks. It is a prerequisite, if anything. And I think once you've been able to do that, I think Career Ready DC is more so if you're starting to think about, it allows you to kind of use the AI platform to leverage some of the career planning, cleaning your resumes. It gives you some insights, so, it gives you feedbacks on the resume as well. So I think you can really leverage Career Ready DC to, as far as kind of like your back office, to clean your resumes, also get some career planning, do some career planning. But again, I think to James' point, DC Network is really where we want to make sure that you are at least are putting your information first.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. So we'll pause again. Are there any questions about Career Ready DC?
Ross, any other questions coming in through the chat?
No, not at this time.
Excellent. Well, we'll keep monitoring the chat, but we do want to get your feedback on today's session and ideas for sessions to come. So Haley's going to put a poll up for you in just a minute or two. But these are the 3 quick questions we'd like to ask. The first is about how effective you feel this webinar has been. The second is about how much you agree with how much information you will take from this webinar and apply it moving forward. And the third question is asking for input on additional webinar topics. So Haley's going to put that poll up in just a minute, and you'll have an opportunity to answer it. Thank you so much, Haley. James, Kuturah, Glorie, thank you so much for joining us today. As folks are filling out the survey, any final words, tips or tricks, considerations that folks should be thinking about as they're going through a difficult time right now?
Absolutely. Well, I'll start off. First, I want to thank you all for your time and attention today. Very briefly, we are located on 4058 Minnesota Avenue Northeast, Washington, D.C. That is our headquarters location and our primary location for UI. We do have other locations available in the city. Those are all available on the does.dc.gov website. If you have any questions directly for the talent team, which is myself and Mr. Chiza, you can email us at talent@dc.gov. And again, our website is does.dc.gov. And you can also follow us on social media. We're available, or you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, LinkedIn. My word of encouragement for you all today is just keep pressing on. I believe Mr. Glorie will give details about Friday's event that's coming up. So with that, Mr. Chiza.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of let you guys know if anything to make to just the DC team and the mayor really has your back in this process. I know one thing that the mayor has prioritized is making sure that we're putting together hiring events to support everyone that are being laid off. So we have our hiring event that's this Friday, the 14th. If you have already signed up, unfortunately right now we've closed signed up because we've reached our limit, but we are having more of those events. Definitely we're going to have more than one. So if you did not get to make it to this to the one on Friday, feel free to email us at talent@dc.gov, and I will make sure that when the next one we have a date for the next one, that we make sure that you get an email so that you can sign up for that event. But again, if you email us at talent@dc.gov, we will make sure that we put you in contact with any of our resources and make sure that you're in all of our platforms to make sure that you have employers looking, having your information, having access to your resume. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. And thank you for your service to our community. Thank you for joining us today. Please keep the questions and the topics coming. We want to be here to help and support. And don't forget to visit our resource hub for feds. We have additional FAQs and blogs and links to information there, and that you can find that at our main website at www.ourpublicservice.org. For all the federal employees out there, thank you for all the work that you do day in and day out. We continue to be your biggest cheerleaders. Thank you for your service, and I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon.